Hey guys, welcome to another lesson of Pro Teaches New. I got returning once again Alex and Ian.
Hi, how's it going?
Hello.
We're waiting
And
for learning.
yep, continuing up of our going at the end last time, we're going over Venom, the end.
Oh,
This is about a
And
decade later.
yeah. And the funny thing though, Adam Warren clearly read up stuff on Venom up until this point.
oh,
He actually takes some elements that Donny Cates was already working on.
hmm.
Would you agree with that, Ian? Because you've actually read this, correct?
This one is just great.
Yeah, but would you agree he definitely took elements from Kate, what Kate was already starting to work on?
I haven't read any of Kate, so I can't answer that.
All right. But yeah, let's see how Venom meets his end.
All right.
Once again, I keep forgetting this.
Stupid
Yeah,
guided view.
good time.
So it's left to me to tell Venom, and so it's left to me to tell Venom's final story. This is a rather long story, I should warn you. Cue the trillion-year flight of Time Zero. Golden age of human and humanoid superheroism. Time Zero. Venom symbiote first bonds with Eddie Brock. This is the story of how a theoretically immortal symbiote tore itself apart for the sake of the all too mortal and life it loved. The all too mortal biological forms of life it loved, I mean. 1.8 trillion years later, God's mind began mop-up operation against Team BioLife, the final extinction of all biological life in this universe. First, though, for drama's sake, a brief flash forward to our quad-toxic ton-wagger and wagers valiant and utterly doomed last battle. And let's get cosmic, shall we?
All right.
So Adam Warren, he loves these kind of absolutely wacky battles.
Yeah, look at
the God Mind against Team BioLife.
So are the God Minds cyborgs? I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's rewind time era a trillion years or so, back to an era when the Venom symbiote was but one of many, with a living extra-dimensional tesseract splintered off from the shattered Kilntar hive mind. Each symbiote. Now, notice we get our first ranking. Eddie Brock, host compatibility rating 5 stars, 5 out of 5.
Good for him.
So funny.
Yep.
And he sucks so much, though.
Developed a true love for BioLife after bonding with human host Eddie Brock. I never understood Eddie's appeal, but then again, I'm not a symbiote. And important note here, the coded DNA of every host were recorded in a genetic codex woven through the extra-dimensional lattice of the symbiote's body. That's something Case had introduced. That the codex, everyone would leave a codex. Like host and Telcar, the first host. Host compatibility 4. The Tesseract-enabled database was effectively infinite in extent of capacity that would prove essential to eons.com. Peter Parker, host compatibility and compatibility rating 1.
Oh,
Well, he did get rid of it, so.
During Venom's first pass through the fabled golden age of humanoid superheroism, practicing symbiote serial monogamy of sorts, and weighing. Host compatibility rating 4 stars. The symbiote bonded with thousands of organic life forms, from humans and mutants to the Kree and countless other alien species. This tesseractive life lover boasted admirably exclusive taste, to be sure. Every attempt at lasting symbiosis would inevitably fail, however. The immortal symbiote could miraculously heal short-term damage to his mortal host's fragile body, certainly. But the long-term biological unraveling of DNA telomeres and half-life limits, that damage from Time's Arrow could not be undone. Eddie Brock, the symbiote's inexplicable favorite, would become the longest-lived of all human hosts, whether he actually wanted that life or not. Over many decades and centuries, Eddie's aged wizard, failing organs were replaced by increasingly desperate venomized analogs. Until time crushing pressure, Eddie's decayed into a dwindling husk, propped up by the symbiote's cellular bioscaffolding.
ooh.
The grotesquely prolonged final act took place when Eddie's inexorably deteriorating brain. Venomized cellular analogs dodgingly replace his dying neurons one by one, frantically deploying webbing and tendrils to mimic decomposing axons. He was trying to replace everything to keep Eddie alive for one more minute, one more second until he couldn't.
Recharging him like a battery almost. But
yeah, pretty much. But he was able to then copy everything and put himself into every moment of Eddie's memories in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So that golden age was over. And now at long last, so was Eddie. Venom gently withdrew all the bioscaffolding and pseudoneurons that were hyperextending Eddie's lifespan so long and let his most beloved of all human hosts go. The final extinction of human-based humanity. With that, the last human on Earth crumbled to dust in the symbiote's immortal arms, until a seething moon now composed of Quindelic fearlessly battling nanomachines. At this point, you may be wondering, what was a bit about apocalyptic robo-genocide and galaxy-wide extinction events? It's basically Iron Man and all that. It created, and like some of his intelligence and everything, stuff he had created, took a life of their own, and now decided machines were the dominant life form. Nice going, Tony.
Because of course.
Well, of course, it's Tony stuff mixed in with stuff from the Creed, a Shi'ar, all their AI that eventually combined with Celestials and all that stuff to become a decision of, artificial life is superior.
Or we cannot let the machines rise.
And well, basically they take on the form of Tony, and they during the nightmarish era of runaway cyber Darwinism.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he was Venom was unimpressed, and basically then he decided to, thanks to his own doomed attempts to salvage his mortal host's deteriorating mind, the symbiote too retained emulations of each host's personality and memories, stored within its tesseract of a codex of engrams. But to Venom, the virtual ghost of Eddie, accessible at will for this internal database, was no Eddie at all. Only a flesh and blood, biologically emboldened Eddie expressed the truth of messily imperfect Eddie-ness. Anything less was nothing more than an empty, worthless travesty. So, as a warring swarm of hyper-evolving ASI, he just goes on with this huge long thing, but Venom has a long-term plan. Unfortunately, this ambitious scheme required the cooperation of other symbiotes. Whether first gen or egg spawn, the descendants of the Shattered Keltar hive mind were simply too selfish and fractious and perpetually psychopathic to tolerate any form of collaboration. Team players, these impulsive and squabbling toxic hysterics were not. The symbiote war of failed unification. Basically, in other words, he would absorb them all, and then after utilizing the codex from the Multo Man, also 4 out of 5. He multiplied them all and copied them himself.
Yeah, these are harsh critics.
Yep. This was the Venom, the meat gardener. Within the symbiote, basically, he would use the symbiote to start to recreate life.
I love this picture of him just holding all these babies. There's something about this.
Once extinct, now revived mutant gene variations saw heavy reuse during this pan-galactic baby boom, including and most critically, Elixir's long-lost mutant power of biological manipulation. He was a healer. 4 out of 5.
Of course.
Storm. 4 out of 5. Wolverine. Deadpool. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
Oh my God. None of them.
Water Bear. 4 out of 5.
Adam.
Just recreates all these lives and then goes to war against them. And, well, first they try to actually negotiate. But, yeah, eventually comes down to, boop you! Cue Venom's endless war with the machines. Technically a misnomer, because it's not really endless. Yep, just keep on fighting each other. Quicksilver, 4 out of 5.
Oh my God. Well, Peter's the only one so far who's got a 1.
You have May. Everyone got reproduced and recreated, but they would keep losing constantly. Tempest, Eve Bell, Time Slip, Rena Patel, Magic, Ilyana Rasputin. 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5.
He can't be happy without his one true love, Eddie. No one can fill that.
Yep. But yeah, he tried to do time jumping and everything. He tried to do everything he could. Even an unknown host. 4 out of 5. Until finally he decided, like as with Eddie so long, the last host withered away in senility and decay, no longer even knowing his own name. Venom knew her name, of course, but I'll respect the symbiote's privacy. And so the final example of biological life in all the universe expired in Venom's loving arms. For the first time in a trillion years, the symbiote was truly alone. Venom continued contain virtual multitudes, yes, but could not keep a single biological organism alive within the sterile, machine-infested corpse of a universe. So as the god minds closed in, the lover of BioLife did what it had to be done. The symbiote reached back within its own tesseract structure, seized the extradimensional latencies that compose himself, and howling agony proceeded to tear himself inside out. In an auto-cannibalizing ordeal, while drawn out over subjective centuries in the dying symbiote's perception, while only picoseconds elapse in real time, Venom evolves his Tesseract's infinite inner dimensions from this universe's space-time fabric and re-rolls himself into the space-time fabric of an entirely new universe. The self-annihilation, lighting self-active creation, emptied all the archives of the genetic codex and the engrammatic database of all its treasured hosts and minds, and respawned all the previous universes' long-dead BioLife within the garden womb of this instant Venomverse. Even as his awareness disintegrated, Venom flexed his chrono powers to deposit all of his precious hosts in the proper time streams within the recreated verse. Genesis completed, the tortured symbiote's consciousness finally mercifully flickered out, and that was the end for Venom. But of course, a new beginning for all the BioLife he had ever loved. At least, that's what we've been able to reconstruct. With a scant half-billion years left until we God minds finish reconstructing this universe into a unified hypercomputing substrate, even a Starkware descended strain like me has been too busy to properly examine the freshly germinated Venomverse. But even once we fully filled and fully decoded all the mathematic of reality distortions and can duplicate the symbiote's sacrificial feats with our own bespoke universe, we will never tamper with the rarest of jewels among the multiverse. By our calculations, no imaginable universe will ever house such a bountiful menagerie of BioLife. Venom and Venom's memorial verse will remain the greatest nature preserve in all creation. Nice done, tongue wagger. Still don't quite understand all the Eddie Brock love, though.
It's so awesome.
I'm gonna need a drink.
Like, in all honesty, that was weird.
As what? What?
Okay, Ian, since you love it so much, can you summarize what the hell just happened?
Venom fell in love with Earth life, and he hates machines.
Peter.
So he basically copies everyone's DNA and makes his own universe populated with all the people he's ever even touched. So he's cataloged their DNA.
Yep. And basically contained it within a ball.
Comic books are weird.
Only Adam Warren could come up with something like this, right?
Yeah.
Right, Ian? Only Adam Warren could come up with something like this.
No, it's so awesome.
Okay, whereas the last one was a character drama, this was just how far can we push?
Bonkers.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say not as good as the Iron Man one.
No, definitely not. But
Do I want it to be Venom's ultimate at the end? Hell no!
No.
But for a possible final story, not that bad.
Yeah,
just
very, very absurd.
I would give it a 5.5 out of 10 if I had to rank it.
It's a 9 out of 10.
You would say that.
Instant purchase.
I mean, it was.
Well, it was worth for me as well, but I said I'm the end lover.
Yeah.
But it was definitely the second weakest of the Zeons from that batch.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to take some extra credit on that one. That one, woo! Yeah. I'm trying to process it.
What is he, Peter?
Yeah, I know he really hates Peter.
What is that? Eddie, 5. Peter, 1. Everyone else, 4. I gotta say, I love that running gag. That was a good running gag. Everyone, even his final host, 4.
4, not satisfied, man.
Yeah, everyone else was a 4.
Like people, he's like, absorbed. He's like,
just. Yeah, we know there have been people who have done worse than Peter, but yeah, Peter, 1.
Yeah, poor Peter.
And he just remembers Peter ripping it off.
Oh, I'm sure that didn't help. He's like, okay, fine, screw you, 1 star.
Well, that was Venom the End, and that's it for this lesson. Tune in next time as we go over a different Venom-based story with Spider-Man Spider Shadows. See you guys then.
See you then.